at 7:02. Can I have a moment of silence, please? Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. Welcome to our board meeting. We're going to do a roll call. Mr. Kenny? Here. Miss Eileen Blystein?
Here.
Miss Catherine Blystein?
Here.
Mr. Bromhall?
Here.
Ms. Falconera?
Here.
Mrs. Iacone?
Here.
Mr. Meeker?
Here.
Mrs. Trompe?
Here.
Ms. Fitzwater here. Wi-Fi is a little slow. Statement is hereby made that adequate notice of this meeting was given by submission of said notice to the Burlington County Times, the Courier Post, Cinnaminson Township Clerk, and the district website on the following dates: January 17, 2024, and January 8, 2025. We're going to section 4 for those following along, the routine business. Gotta get there. Sorry about that. The board docs is very slow now. Okay, we've got the board secretary's report for January of 2025. The treasurer report for January 2025, the receipts and appropriation adjustments for January of 25. Oh, I can do that from here. The monthly transfer report for January of 2025, the high school activities report for February, the food service management cost performance statement for February, certified bill list that ends February 12th, and the approval of minutes. Or approval of minutes. For March 8th, no, that's today. Where is it? There we go. For the regular session of February 18th and the executive session for February 18th. Mr. Kenny, can I have a motion to approve Section 4, routine business, items A through H?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Meeker. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Eileen Blystein?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 5, the routine matters. We have the enrollment report as of March 14th, the health report for February of 25, the fire alarm report for February, the crisis drill report for February, and the superintendent's monthly report. Mr. Capello.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. To the members of the public in our audience, the members watching at home on YouTube, thank you so much for engaging with the board this evening and being in attendance at our meeting. Unfortunately, it is with great sadness that I again begin my remarks this evening with a message of loss. Last week, the Cinnaminson family lost another cherished member of our staff with the passing of Deirdre Kane, a treasured employee here at Cinnaminson Middle School. She was an employee of the district since 2019 and a fixture in the community for so much longer. Her loss is felt especially hard by her coworkers here at the middle school who remember her kindness, her grace, and her empathy. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Deirdre's family, including her husband, John, and her children, all CHS graduates, Alex, Kelly, Caitlin, and Jack. I would ask that members here join me tonight in an additional moment of silence in her memory. Thank you for that. It is a busy night for the board, and I appreciate seeing all of these faces in the audience, so I will keep my remarks rather brief this evening, but there were a few people I wanted to recognize very quickly earlier this evening, as we'll hear about later. Several of my colleagues on the board took part in the Future Chefs competition, adjudicating some of our young culinary geniuses from the Rush School. They had a little bit of a student chopped competition, and it was a lot of fun, and we'll get to hear about the winner a little bit later on during our student recognition. Also like to recognize Mr. Schweitzer, Mr. Keston, and all of the casting crew and other adults who were involved in the production of The Little Mermaid at Cinnaminson High School. I know many people in the audience I saw out at the shows. It was a very well-attended event, or 6 events, and another fantastic show. We were actually in the middle, in between weekends, as you can see the stage set up behind us. Here at Cinnaminson Middle School, they are doing Beauty and the Beast, also some very well-attended shows. I had a chance to see it last week, and it was absolutely fantastic, so congratulations. Congratulations to Ms. Lanzoni and Mr. Serino and all of the students who are a part of the cast and crew of Beauty and the Beast. We've been doing some testing, some assessments in the district, and we appreciate the support of our students and families as our high school juniors took part in the NJ GPA assessment over the course of the last couple of weeks, and that is a graduation requirement for all of the students in the class of 2025 and 2026. Also, we're doing some ML access testing, and our district seal of biliteracy assessments have been taking place over the last couple of weeks. Thank you to Mr. Perkupka and all of the staff who took part in the senior class trip to Disney. A little bit of a reminder for anybody out there. I see some young folks in the audience. April 11th is the deadline to join the district's pre-K lottery. You'll start to see some signs pop up around town. Any parents of students who live in Cinnaminson who are 3 years old and 4-year-old are entitled to enter the lottery, and we expect to have about 180 slots for preschoolers next year in Cinnaminson as we continue to grow that program next year with the addition of now 12 classrooms. A little bit later this evening, our annual Rush reporter will join us, and we understand there were a number of very qualified folks to share, so this might be one of, maybe we might get an additional one at some point, but we're looking forward to hearing from Graham a little bit later. Also this evening on the agenda is the first public-facing step in advancing next year's fiscal year budget. And with the approval of the board tonight, Mrs. Wilkie, our business administrator, will send the preliminary budget to the county office for further approval. And then, of course, members of the public are invited to attend a public hearing on the budget, which is currently scheduled for April 29th at 5 o'clock right here in this room. And details are available on the Cinnaminson District website. And I'd like to publicly acknowledge the Finance Committee and Mrs. Wilkie for putting together that budget to advance later on this evening. And with that, Mrs. Fitzwater, that was my short report.
Thank you, Mr. Capillo. And Mr. Bromhall, can I have a motion to approve Section 5 routine matters, items A through E?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Eileen Blystein. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Falconero?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. Moving on to Section 6, our student representative reports. We'll start with our high school representative, Gwen Chikonsky.
Good evening, everyone. The Golden Apple Award for February was presented to Miss Lori Highland by Shay McDevitt. The Students of the Month for February for the class of 2025 is Mariella DiCristofaro, class of 2026, Ethan Schreier, class of 2027, Amina Disfik, class of 2028, Sean Lane. The Athletes of the Month for February are seniors Eliza Jeffries and Colin Parrish. Winter sports have concluded their season, and spring sports teams are practicing. Girls basketball team finished their year with an outstanding record of 22-8 and made it to the quarterfinal of the playoffs. Boys basketball finished their season with an amazing record of 17-13 and made it to the semifinal round of the NJSIA playoffs for the 3rd straight year. In addition, Drew Harvey is the new all-time scoring leader at CHS. The wrestling team made it to regions represented by Don Marino, Davi Guermes, and Victor Mira. Don placed 3rd and went to Atlantic City to compete in the NJSIAA state tournament. Victor Mira finished his senior year with a 27-5 record. Davi Guermes finished his year with 26 wins. The girls wrestling team finished their season competing at the girls regions at Absegami with Emily De Silva finished 2-2, Desir Dow finished 1-2. Overall, the team finished with the following stats. Riley Evans and Hannah Bottomer set the record for the most wins in a season at 23. Emily De Silva finished the season 17-3 for the best winning percentage in history, and the girls won their first dual match. The swim team finished their season at the NJSIAA Meet of Champions. Tessa Devone, Brendan Faddo, Bryce Bastion, Will Walsh, and Wyatt Ergood competed against the best swimmers in the state. For winter For winter track, Eddie Fry secured an impressive second place at the Group 2 Championship and then wrapped up the indoor season by taking 5th place in the pole vault at the Meet of Champions. For class of 2025, the senior class returned home from their senior class trip at Disney World and one day at Universal. They had a wonderful time making many memories with their peers in the happiest place on earth. The CHS Drama Club is proud of the performances, design, and technical expertise of the entire cast, pit, and crew, especially the graduating class of 2026. The Drama Club will miss their leadership and persistence. Special thanks to the parent committee, the maintenance staff, and the administration for their assistance. Thanks to all for coming out to join their adventure under the sea. For DECA, 19 students attended the 2025 SCDC in Atlantic City, March 4th through March 6th. The chapter received multiple achievement awards. The recognition earned will allow 8 members to attend DECA's International Conference in Orlando on April 25th through the 30th. 2 members will compete in the SBE Academy, and the other 6 will attend a variety of emerging leadership academies to enhance their leadership skills. Interact held its annual casino night for the Arc of Burlington County on Friday, February 21st in the high school cafeteria. They hosted the largest number of guests and their caretakers since before the pandemic, and everyone had a wonderful time. Interact members will be making sandwiches for Cathedral Kitchen on March 26th. Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen. And now we'll hear from our middle school representative, Evan Bavona.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Evan Bavona, and I am here in place of Noah Bunny, who cannot attend tonight. I am also a member of the CMS Student Council. The February students of the month are 6th grader Gabriel Oliveira, 7th grade Leonardo da Silva, and 8th grader Chloe Fidal. Ms. Donna McGuigan, office secretary, was the faculty member of the month for March. Congratulations on her retirement. She will be missed. Spring sport tryouts are starting this week. We are excited for some spring weather and sunshine. The CMS Drama Club had a successful first weekend of Beauty and the Beast Junior. There are more performances this weekend, Friday, March 21st at 7:30 p.m., and Saturday, March 22nd, with shows at 2 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Come out and enjoy a fantastic show. Congratulations to the entire cast. The Unity Club is hosting Unity Night on March 19th from 6:30 to 8:30. Unity Night is a new event for adults with disabilities in the community. They will be participating in crafts, games, and various activities. This Friday, March 21st, is World Down Syndrome Awareness Day. It is also known as Rock Your Socks Day. Students, teachers, and staff are encouraged to wear crazy or any kind of fun socks to celebrate being unique. CHS Home and School Association is hosting at night a family fun and entertainment with the Harlem Wizards and Cinnaminson staff members. The game will be held on Saturday, March 22nd at 6:30 p.m. Please come out and support our schools. It will definitely be a memorable experience. The Stop Club is seeking your help. Students are collecting donations for Good Counsel Home, located in Riverside, until Monday, March 31st. The Good Counsel Home is a nationally recognized nonprofit women and children's shelter that runs solely off donations from generous individuals, offers residential care and community-based services for homeless, expectant, and new mothers, along with their children. Lastly, CMS celebrated Read Across America earlier this month. We enjoyed dressing up for our theme days and Drop Everything and Read event with our special guests that came into our classrooms to read with us. Congratulations to Miss Every Clayton's homeroom, who had the most dress-up participation points and will receive a treat this week. Thank you, and I hope you all have a great night.
Thank you, Evan. And we'll now hear from our Rush representative of the night, Graham Lane.
Good evening. My name is Graham Lane, and I'm a 5th grade student in Mr. Freeze's class. The February students of the month are as follows: Emma Kaminsky for 3rd grade, Luke Bavona for 4th grade, Annie Jones for 5th grade, and Robert Hill, who received the specialist nomination from Miss Shields. These students consistently go above and beyond the ERS expectations and serve as role models for their classmates. The Kids Heart Challenge ended on February 28th, and the Rush School community came together to raise $26,943. Mr. Baldessari worked very hard to encourage everyone to participate in this worthy cause. Thanks to everyone's efforts, Rush School is number 11 in this state and number 1 in Burlington County for the most donations. Penelope Bouchel was the top earning student, raising $2,000. Rush School celebrates Read Across America Week from March 3rd until March 7th. Rush students and staff enjoyed theme days and got to wear their favorite sports jerseys, unique socks, and even pajamas. Everyone participated in school-wide reading train on Thursday, March 6th that lasted 20 minutes and 25 seconds and stretched throughout every hallway in the school. On March 7th, visiting author and cartoonist Mike Dawson presented 2 assemblies. A special thanks to the Cinnaminson Home and School Association for sponsoring his visit. ERS is hosting a spring concert on Wednesday, April 2nd at Cinnaminson High School. 4th graders and advanced choir are in all grades will perform Disney's favorites from The Lion King, Encanto, Cinderella, The Princess and the Frog, and more. Under the direction of Miss Shields, the show will sure be a hit. A live stream link will be shared for anyone interested in watching the show from the comfort of home. There are many exciting events and field trips coming up. On March 19th and 20th, Rush School will follow a single session schedule due to report card conferences. On March 20th, students in all grades will walk over to the CHS to enjoy a math carnival. On March 27th, 5th grade teams will participate in the Battle of the Books competition in the Rush School APR, and the winning team will go on to compete in the county battle. On March 28th, Rush will hold its annual Unity Assembly organized by Miss Catlett and Miss McNeil, as well as members of the Unity Club. Lastly, the ERS Drama Club is excited to present Willy Wonka Kids on May 1st and May 22nd, with evening performances on both days. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Graham. Can we have a round of applause for our presenters tonight? All right, now we're going to have some presentations. The first thing that we're going to do is the Board of Education recognizing some of our Cinnaminson students for their outstanding achievements.
All right, thank you, Mr. Creel. If you're following along in the program, we did call a bit of an audible. As I'm looking out over the audience, I see some of our younger New Albany and Rush students who I'm sure have bedtimes and homework and baths and all of those things. So, but before I continue with this, I would like to point out we have 2 subsequent presentations, one from the art department in the middle and high school here in the district, and also a great presentation from our Cinnaminson CPAG that I would highly encourage you to stick around for, and then we will take a brief recess after the presentations. And just if you are not aware, we do stream all of our board meetings on our district website, and the shortcut to get to it is cinn.tv, and that will take you to our district YouTube channel. So periodically throughout the course of the year, we like to recognize the most outstanding of our students for some really significant accomplishments, and at this board meeting, I think you'll be very impressed by the level of student achievement that we've had so far this year. So with that, we're going to bring up our principals, and we do it in birth order, birth of the students, not birth of the adults, to do our presentation. So at this time, I'd like to welcome Ms. Valerie Jones, principal of the New Albany School, up to do our first round of presentations.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. I would like to invite all of the New Albany students to come up and stand right over here in front of these adults right there. This way, Bullet. This way, Bullet. This way. All right, so first up, we honor the Jump Into Reading Challenge students. For an entire month, from October through November, students were encouraged to read as many books as possible, and that they did. This challenge was part of Senator Troy Singleton's Jump Into Reading Challenge, and we chose the top winners. The first winner was Maeve Bond, who is in kindergarten. And we also have Mackenzie Sauter, who is in second grade. Congratulations to these two young ladies. Thank you, ladies. I'd also like to announce, as part of the Jump Into Reading Challenge, New Albany School had the top readers in the entire county, and we received a proclamation for reading. All right, next up, I'd like to honor the Kids Heart Challenge top fundraisers. These students were challenged to collect donations during the month of February as part of the Kids Heart Challenge. This annual fundraiser helps other kids with special hearts, all while our students are learning how to be healthy, how to keep their hearts healthy, as well as their bodies. I'd like to recognize our top 3 students with the highest donations. Congratulations to Connor McKenna. I'd also like to congratulate Nova Jaquette. As well as Grayson Shaw. Congratulations. And then finally, every October, our art teacher, Lisa Canals, she works in conjunction with the Cinnaminson Fire Department, and these kids create some majestic pieces. And we have several winners. We have Wesley Robinson from kindergarten. Also, congratulations to Leah Gall in first grade. There's several more. I'd also like to congratulate Jimmy Binkley in second grade, and Jimmy's artwork has advanced to the county level. And last but certainly not least, Bullet Zavali, and his artwork as well advanced to the county. Congratulations to these students. I'd now like to invite to the podium Miss Kate Mealy from the Rush School.
Good evening, everyone. We're so glad that you could join us this evening. As Mrs. Jones mentioned, Senator Singleton's office does host an annual Jump Into Reading Challenge, and we have a third grade student from Eleanor Rush Intermediate, who was the overall top third grade reader in the competition, Mr. Douglas Formson, who read 241 books. So Douglas and his family, as you see up in the photograph, were invited to Senator Singleton's office over the winter holidays. He received a plaque as well as a bowling gift certificate from Senator Singleton. Our guest student representative, Mr. Lane, already shared. Rush School participates in the Kids Heart Challenge in partnership with the American Heart Association every year. And I would like to acknowledge our PE teacher, Mr. Baldessari, who does a tremendous job generating student interest in the competition and also teaching students about how to keep their hearts healthy during the month of February. We would like to recognize our 3 top earning students. The first student is not here this evening, but we would still like to give her a nice round of applause, Penelope Boychelle. And then if I could ask my other 2 friends who are here to step on over while I read off some stats. So if I could have Leo and Luke come on over to the side real quick, thank you. So Penelope did raise $2,000 during the month of February. And then our second top place fundraiser was Mr. Leo Askelis, who raised $1,494. And then Mr. Lucas Schaus was our third highest earning student, raising $1,109. Get one by themselves? Yeah.
Thank you.
Every year, Mr. Baldessari challenges our student body to raise as much money that coincides or aligns with the calendar year. So our goal for fundraising was $25,000 for 2025, and we exceeded that, as Graham pointed out, by raising $26,943, which would have been impossible without the very generous contributions of our community. So thank you to everyone who contributed as we were fundraising during February. Hot off the press, not here tonight, but was here about an hour ago, is Mr. Jonathan DeFlavis. He is our winner for the National Challenge Future Chef competition with his baked pork dumpling flowers. They were absolutely delicious. I personally had 2. We had 7 students compete in the competition. Guest judges were here to try all different samplings, and this is Jonathan's 3rd year competing in the competition, so his mother pointed out to him, 3rd time's the charm, and he wins this year as a 5th grade student, which is very exciting. So congratulations to all of our future chefs who were here tonight, and a special congratulations to Jonathan. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Carrie D. Simone, principal of Cinnaminson Middle School.
And I would also like to bring up Mr. Garwood Bacon, as our first presentations will go to our 8th grade students who competed in the Future City Competition of Philadelphia. It's sponsored by Discover. I'm going to have Mr. Bacon tell you a little bit about it.
Sure.
Okay?
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd just like to say how proud I am of our Project Challenge students this year for their efforts at the Future City Competition. It's an annual competition that challenges middle school students across the nation to envision a city of the future. And each year they change the theme. This year they asked students to envision a city that is floating and self-sustaining and can provide protein and all the things that happy and healthy citizens need. And for their efforts, they came away with not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 special awards for their innovative designs. It started in September. They worked diligently all the way up to the end of January, where they built a 3D model and took it over to Archbishop Carroll High School in Radnor, PA, and presented in front of a panel of professionals, engineers from all fields, and I was just blown away by the way they represented Cinnaminson. They carried themselves, and I feel like our future is very bright. So anyway, thank you.
So would our future city competitors please come up with me? We have Mr. Noah Bundy, Mr. Ben Carroll, Ms. Isabella Cerullo, Mr. Colin Highland, Mr. Frank Rio, Mr. Ethan Turner, and Mr. Killian Walsh. Come on up, friends. We got 4. Do you want to? They're going to get their certificates too. Yeah, we're going to play the. Perfect. There's 4. Yeah, get in with them. Yeah, why don't we do them individually, and then we can. Okay, so Colin, step back a little bit, okay? Mr. Bacon, you should join.
Okay, this way. That's okay. You got another one.
Oh, you want me in there too? All right. Thank you. And we put a little video together just to give you an idea of what they do in this competition.
While docking ports at each part of the platform ensure easy transport of goods. The city's architecture prioritizes both space and nature, with solar panels atop each building to power the energy grid below.
How many people would live on this?
So we believe that around 50,000 can live on each platform.
Times 3. So how many people were on your team altogether?
7. We had 6 here.
So how many different types of engineers would you typically have working on building island houses?
So we actually had many different engineers come together to make this into such as civil engineers, mechanical engineers, marine engineers, and electrical engineers.
This way it helps Starinova sustain itself and it's always innovating.
What do you use the electromagnets for?
So we use the electromagnets to keep the modules in place within their little formation. That way each module doesn't bump into each other or crash.
Let's give a round of applause to our future city competitors. And a special thank you to Mr. John Meeker, our board member, who was a visiting engineer supporting our students through this process. So thank you, Mr. Meeker. Okay. Okay, so next up, we have our musicians, our singers and musicians, and I am happy to announce that 4 of our students were invited into the All South Jersey Junior High Honors Choir. When I call your name, please come up. Sarah Casey. Gabriella Soshik. Vincent Iannuzzi, and Chibukim Okali. We now have our All South Jersey Honors Band. One student from Cinnaminson Middle School made it into our honors band, and that is Benjamin Dos Reyes. He plays the baritone. Vincent, or Benjamin, come on up. Benjamin also made it into the Western Burlington County Honors Band, also for his baritone. Come on up. Also invited into the Western Burlington County Honors Band, Anis Kabuk. He plays the trumpet. Anis, come on up. Nico Hapta. Nico plays the alto sax. Sumai Sharma. Sumai plays the trumpet. Sonita Sun, who plays the flute. And Jeffrey Weissman, who plays alto sax. One last round of applause for my Cinnaminson Middle School students of honor. And with that, I will pass it over to Mr. Gorman and Mr. Wilkinson for Cinnaminson High School.
Before I start, I just want to take a second to thank everybody for coming. I know many of the people that we're going to be recognizing this evening are coming in hot off of a spring season sport or out of a spring practice, so I know fitting that in can be challenging, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to come here and celebrate with us some of your accomplishments. We're going to start off with some out of the world of Consumer Bowl. Consumer Bowl is a contest where students compete against with consumer legislation and fraud practices. Our team this year took first place. Please recognize Sadie Berthoff, Anella Asbury, and Kellen Kohler. We have 5 students that were entered into the All South Jersey Choir: Layla Holba, Aram Madison, Mary Quinn, Kathy Vo, and Ryan Wyke. If you want to come on up. Anella, you should come on up too. So after I call your name, if you could please come on up and accept your award. We'll take your picture. We'll give you a round of applause. Nice job. Oh. Sam, you got so many awards. We put them all onto one slide. So please welcome Sam Bobrin. Sam was inducted into the All-South Jersey Choir, the All-State Mixed Choir, and the All-Eastern Honors Choir. Kim Mason was inducted into the All-State Treble Chorus and the All-Eastern Honors Chorus. So we have I'm incredibly proud of such a large group getting inducted into the Western Burlington County Music Alliance Honors Band. If you are here this evening, please make sure you come up after your name is called. Kyle Chomix, Ben Jacob, Robert Jacob, Emily Herbert, Deshaun Miller, Madison Mosey, Carrie Pizarek, Ethan Schreier, Rayleigh Somerville, Jules Vargas Melendez, and Taylor Waite. I'm sure they are practicing as we speak. The following three students are in the All-South Jersey Orchestra: Vianica Siosic, Olivia Gola, and Annabelle Simone. The following two young men were inducted into the Philadelphia Youth Orchestra: Victor Armios and Ronan Segrest. So the remainder of our awards are going to be in the world of athletics. Before I introduce our athletic director, we really spent a lot of time and energy this year thinking about how we can really make the gym an area where will be a jewel of South Jersey and Burlington County. I think if you have an opportunity to come by and check it out, we've done a lot of things, including some installations, some new lights and sounds. Mr. Wilkins has been really working hard on that. One of the things that we introduced are some new record boards. You'll find them by the concession stands. Many of the awards that we're going to recognize tonight are part of that process. Without further ado, please welcome Mr. Wilkinson.
So just to speak to that real quick, we have such a rich and tremendous history in athletics at Cinnaminson, so much to be proud of. So coaches have worked hard to research records and to get records right. We would like the records of great accomplishments in all the sports recognized. So by June, we look to have 8 or 9 different sports with record boards up on the walls, and coaches and teachers have been researching records. And then the next principal's newsletter, we're going to print those boards out, and we're hoping the community will help correct us, that if they see something that's wrong and they have a newspaper article or a banquet book and said, no, that record in 1976 was this, we'd love to hear about it, because we want to get it right and we want to make sure that we recognize all the great athletic accomplishments at Cinnaminson. It's a really cool thing, and I hope you all get a chance to look at it. So most of the people that we're going to call up today are new school record holders. Pretty cool accomplishments. First up, Drew Harvey. If you want to come up, Drew, our 2025 single season records with three-pointers at 93. In a career from 21 to 25, three-pointers with 271, and the total points leader in the history of Cinnaminson basketball, Drew Harvey. Congratulations. Drew, just hang out there for a minute, because Drew is only half of the story in the Harvey family. Third all-time in points with 1,240 is Noah Harvey. Really, the two of them were a lethal combination, a 1-2 punch that led our basketball team, and it was pretty awesome and pretty fun to watch. Congratulations. May we get both Harveys in the picture? And while we're taking pictures, I'd also like to recognize Coach Mike Freeze, who this year hit a major milestone for basketball coaches with 300 wins. Coach Freeze, if you could come on up. 300 wins is quite an accomplishment, because it's more than just longevity, but it's a longevity of success. So congratulations, Coach Freeze. If I could call up Ava Stanilevich. Ava was a 1,000-point scorer for us, sets an all-time record in steals in a career with 243, an all-time record in assists in a career with 263, and also had a 9-steal game once. And if grit and toughness were quantifiable, I have no doubt that Ava would be in the top 3 in Cinnaminson history. Congratulations, Ava. Congratulations. Also, I'd like to bring up Shiloh Moore and Madden Riddler, if they're here. They actually tied Ava. The 3 of them had 9 steals in a game. Just to point out, because Mr. Gordon and I did a little research, that would be 3rd in the NBA. So congratulations to both of them, 9 steals in a game. Swimming is often looked at as an individual sport, but anybody who's watched a relay in swimming knows I'm not sure there's more spirit de corps in all of sports than in a relay in track or swimming. Bryce Bastian, Brendan Frado, Michael Geinhardt, and Will Walsh broke the 200 medley relay record with a smoking 141.37. Come on up. Congratulations.
Go ahead. That way we don't mix it official.
Congratulations. Indoor track, if I could call up Eddie Fry, he broke a Cinnaminson record in the pole vault, jumping 14 feet 6 inches, placing him 2nd in the section and 5th at the meet of champs. Eddie Fry. Takes a lot of guts to run down that runway knowing that it's just about 2 inches of fiberglass holding you up. Also in indoor track, Kellen Collar, is she here? Kellen's not here. She broke the school record in the 800 meter, running 2:21.11. Great time. In boys wrestling, Dominic Marino. Dominic finished the season. He has 3rd most wins in a season with 36, the most pins in a career with 64, was a district champ, 3rd place in a regions, 1st place in the Burlington County Open Tournament, and he wrestled in Atlantic City this year at Boardwalk Hall. Pretty cool. In girls wrestling, first off, wrestling is an intensely personal sport. You don't have anybody else to blame when you're out there. It's just you on the mat. So that's tough enough and gutsy enough to take that on. But for these girls, a lot of them hadn't wrestled before high school. This is the first time they're out there competing in the last couple years. So on top of just taking on that sport, they're trailblazers. There's going to be a lot of movement on this board over the next couple years as hopefully more girls continue to wrestle. But these girls are the first, and there's nothing like being the first. Pretty awesome. Riley Evans, 1st most wins in a season with 23, 1st most wins in a career with 29, most pins in a season with 21, and most pins in a career with 24. Riley Evans. Did I miss one? Okay. Congratulations. Hannah Bottomer, 1st most wins in a season with 23, 3rd most wins in a career with 25. Hannah. Congratulations. And Emily De Silva, 3rd most wins in a season, most tech falls in a season, and most tech falls in a career. In girls bowling, a new school record single high game score of 824. Abby Gordon, Ali Haminsky, Ileana Malve, Eliana Miller, and Francesca Rame. Congratulations. Thank you and congratulations to all our athletes.
All right, thank you once again to all of our students. Congratulations on your many accomplishments. I again would like to put in a plug. We are going to have an outstanding presentation from our art department, also the Cinnaminson CPAG as well. We will be doing another series of recognition for students from our spring sports and everything that happens from the balance of this point on in the year through the end of the year. So congratulations again to all of the winners, and thank you to everyone for coming out tonight.
Ready? 2 months ago at our January Board of Education meeting, we heard from a number of our secondary performing arts teachers about what's new and happening at the music department at Cinnaminson Middle School and Cinnaminson High School this month. We're privileged to hear from some of our visual art teachers from Cinnaminson Middle School and Cinnaminson High School. The three educators that we're going to hear from tonight, all outstanding educators. Also, all three of them are Cinnaminson parents. So we're very much looking forward to that presentation. So without no further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Matt Digney, who is our supervisor of visual art, health, physical education, family, and consumer science, the longest title in the district. Mr. Digney.
Thank you, Dr. Goldberg. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm super excited to show you guys some of what the wonderful things that we're doing in our middle school and high school art rooms. So first of all, let's start off with introducing our teachers. We have Miss Karen Marescu. She's our middle school art teacher. Miss Colleen DiPietro. Unfortunately, she could not be here tonight, but I'll be speaking for her. She's from the high school. And then Mr. Derek Moore, who's also from the high school. Not only are these teachers excellent in the classroom, but you can see all their extracurriculars underneath. The combined years of these three teachers is 70+ years in teaching art education. We're very fortunate to have them in our classrooms. So we'll start with the importance of education. When we sat down and tried to figure out what we wanted to say tonight, we wanted to make a list of why art education is important. The list was exhaustive. It was very extensive, but we were able to knock it down to what we thought were the top 10 reasons and what we try to pursue in our classrooms. So we're always trying to enhance creativity and self-expression and innovative thinking, develop problem-solving skills, critical thinking, and decision-making, improve fine motor skills, encourage cultural awareness, students to diverse perspective and global tradition, boost academic performance, prepare for various careers, as we'll talk about a little later. Building confidence, it takes encourage students to take risks and express themselves. Support emotional well-being, outlet for stress and relief and self-reflection. Promote collaboration and create college and scholarship opportunities, which we'll also talk about a little later in the presentation. So I'd like to start us off with Karen Marescu, and she can talk about our middle school art program. Karen.
Thank you. So here at the middle school art, the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, art at the middle school level focuses on creating a supportive studio environment that encourages the students to take creative risks, explore mediums, engage in constructive critique of famous art throughout history, and identify and apply the elements of art and principles of design in their composition. What you see up there is just one of our bulletin boards in our classroom that helps the students when we're critiquing artwork. Very simply, we just describe, analyze, interpret, and evaluate works of art. We talk about it very freely, and the students are encouraged to give their opinions about different art, and knowing that their interpretation of art is their interpretation and no one has a wrong interpretation of what they're looking at. So it's a really nice way to have them get some courage up to talk in front of the class and to give their opinion about the art that we talk about. There we go. Sixth grade artists explore techniques across various color-coded sections of the art studio. So our art studio is broken up into drawing, painting, printmaking, sculpture, fiber art, ceramics, and a small mini masterpiece area. Each one is color-coded, and all the materials necessary to utilize those areas are in those specific sections. They're learning how to experiment with the materials, effective sketchbook utilization, studio organization, how to set up, how to clean up, and this way, once they learn how to do that in those different areas, they can always revisit those areas when they do a mini masterpiece. So when they have extra time, if they liked printmaking project, they can go back and do another printmaking project of their own and utilize the materials. My favorite thing that we do is, our first project that they do is their sketchbook. So they create their sketchbook in sixth grade, and it's a simple bookbinding technique that we use, and the students keep that sketchbook all throughout middle school. So I collect all the sketchbooks, keep them in the art room, and then they get them back in seventh grade. We add more pages. They get them back again in eighth grade, and then they finally get to take them home, and it's a nice portfolio of all the ideas and changes that they went through while they were here at CMS. Here's a little video of one of our sixth grade artists, Kelsey Denyon, who gave her opinion on what her favorite thing in art class was. I don't know why it's not. I don't know. Nope. Did I mess up? Or you can look at it later. In seventh grade, we enhance their artistic independence and try to build as much confidence as we can with the seventh graders. Seventh grade is a really tough year for middle school, for all middle schoolers. So we try to do projects that are more abstract so they don't have to feel self-confident about drawing things absolutely correctly, or if they're drawing something exactly the way it should look. So we do a lot of abstract work and use a lot of symbolism when we do our projects. So one of the projects that we do, the bottom one, Lift Each Other Up, it's this advocacy poster in the style of Keith Haring, whose figures were basically like little gingerbread men. So they love doing that. We also look at Samoan style tattoos, where they take 5 values that are most important to them as a person, and they look up the different symbols for those in the Samoan culture and then create a tattoo design. We also do Mexican folk art. They love working with plaster wrap, and it just have a really great experience because everything is based on things that they like and things that they enjoy. Eighth grade art this is the #1 project that we do, is our large food sculpture projects, and they are on display in the Pine Street Art Gallery in the back if you'd like to go see them. They're amazing. Our eighth grade artists engage in projects that demand greater scale, extended time frames, and a heightened attention to detail as we dive into more advanced techniques that refine skills, craftsmanship, and overall design, prepping them for the high school learning experience that they're going to be having. The three of us all teach very similarly. We grade very similarly, so it's a nice, easy transition for them to go from middle school art up to the high school, any of the high school art classes. So the sculptures you're looking at are inspired by the artist Kleis Oldenburg, who did the large clothespin, and he also did large food sculptures. So the students choose their favorite food to do a sculpture of, and the teachers will then vote on the sculptures to see who has the best one. The best one wins the Golden Clothespin Award and a cookie from the cafeteria, which is a favorite. So this is sixth grade art, or 6th, 7th, and 8th grade art, and now I will turn it over to the high school.
Thank you, Karen. So at the high school level, we have 15 potential electives that you can take. We start early with the exploratory art, which is our no previous experience art. So at the high school level, a graduation requirement is you have to have 5 credits of a fine and performing art, and that means either 1 class of art or 1 class of music. So in our exploratory art, It's an entry-level appreciation course, introduces various mediums and techniques, and suitable for students that have no prior experience. This will satisfy the graduation requirement for a one-year course of 5 credits. Now, we do find that a lot of students that take the exploratory art, roughly about 50% of them, will take another elective art in their high school career. Here's some of our examples. This is called an Zentangle type art. It looks like doodling, which it kind of is, but it's actually an art style where students just draw lines of deep and light values. Some of these assignments could take 30 minutes. We've had students do these assignments for 3 weeks. They're sometimes never ending. They also do a self-portrait, and this could be either done in a reflection of a mirror or in their camera roll. Now, I got to be very honest with you, this is not a typical exploratory art self-portrait. Usually we get the exact opposite of what this looks like. This is a very talented student with no real previous art experience who came into our exploratory program. Since then, she has taken many art classes and has a very bright future in art. Intro to Art would be the first elective course you could take after your exploratory experience. This is a little more deeper. It builds on skills, two-dimensional art. It incorporates a little bit of personal exploration and art history. Some of the projects we have in here, like we mentioned, Ms. Karen Marescu mentioned that the sketchbooks, and this is a real important part of art. It's I basically call it like an art diary, and they're always encouraged to have these sketchbooks on them, and when inspiration or moments occur where they want to write something down or draw something or cut something out and paste it, they carry these books. You'll see many art students carry these on their person nonstop. Some are very personal. Some students love to show them. When I get an opportunity, if a student is interested in showing me their sketchbook, I never say no. It's a really, really interesting thing. This is another one from Intro to Art. This is a Matisse-inspired collage. André Matisse, a French artist who liked to work with cutout collages and shapes of abstract geometric shapes and layer them on top, giving the art a little bit of depth. So we always try to be inspired by what artists have done in the past. This is a acrylic painting of a cat on canvas. So the acrylic painting gives a little bit of texture, which kind of gives that cat the nice look with that fur that he has going there, or she. This is also a portrait, but this is with a natural background. This student drew this portrait 100% by pencil using light and dark shadings and smear techniques. This was taken from a camera roll with, you can see the portrait in the front and the nature scene in the back. Excellent example of what our students are doing in the intro course. Some of our advanced art courses would be the next level up, and this includes drawing, printing, printmaking, sculpture, but it really emphasizes that our students can start to hone in on what interests them. It gives them a little more choice. So a first example of this is this student here loves still lifes, and it is what it looks like. It looks like a glass of gummy worms and gummy bears tilted over. But it's the color on it is amazing. The shading and the circular round glass with the reflection. It's just a really, really good piece of one of our advanced art students. This is a different look at advanced art student, but you can kind of see the bright colors and what that student might have been feeling that day or that week. But an excellent example of the use of colors, which is a big part of what we try to instruct. And this is a portrait called In Grayscale. In Grayscale is kind of in between cartoon and real life, kind of a lot of what our students and children are watching now on TV. This is a portrait, but it's done in a grayscale form, another excellent piece. AP Art. This is equivalent to a first-year college art studio. This is for seniors only, and during this AP Art, they will have to develop a portfolio, and this portfolio is for students that are looking to do some type of art beyond high school, whether it be art as a career or an art college. So a lot of these hours that are spent, many hours, will be put in a portfolio for submission. So last year we had this student submit this as one of their portfolio projects. You can clearly see it's a really, really high-class piece of works of art. And this student did get accepted into art school, and this student did get some art scholarship money as well. So graphic arts. So I break it down to 2D art, which is flat art, and 3D art, which is building up, which Mr. Moore will talk about next, and then graphic arts, which is behind the screen. We have an intro course and an advanced course. We use tools and software like Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Animate. This is an excellent base for foundation for photography and TV production. A lot of projects include like logos and booklets and posters and packaging and animations and cartoons. Really career-oriented skills that the students are learning in this class. This year is called a Vormator, which this whole picture is a Vormator challenge, and this whole picture only has 5 shapes in it. And this was done on Adobe Illustrator, and the student did an excellent job. So as long as you look, I looked at it for a long time, there's only 5 shapes in there, and that person was able to create that picture. This is called an infographic, kind of like the old Wild West days, the wanted signs with the pictures above it. Well, this student wanted to recognize the Mexican holiday, Day of the Dead. So an infographic has text and a visual on there, and they use it as like a pamphlet type, handout type form. This is probably one of our more popular projects. It's our skate deck contest. And students design skate board, skate deck designs on their computer in graphics. And then it goes through a vote. And students vote and teachers vote on what they think is their favorite design. And then once those winners are selected, we will then print out those designs on a tacky acrylic type paper, which can be attached to real skateboards that we purchase. So you'll see at the end of the presentation, we have one of those skateboards for display, but it's a really cool project. Art students and non-art students really get behind this. Okay, I have Adobe Animate, and I'm going to have the same problem as Ms. Marescu. I don't think it's going to click for me. We'll skip. Advanced graphic design. So we also have some software that allows students to take real measurements of real objects in real rooms, add it into a computer program, and start designing interior space. Super career-oriented skills. As you can see here, this student designed a little like flat with a loft. The measurements are exact. It could be used in a blue plan if needed to be. Now we'll talk about 3D art with Mr. Moore.
All right, so talk a little bit about 3D art. 3D art is a introductory level class that combines sculpture and ceramics. Students will get a chance to explore materials like clay, plaster, wire, paper, found objects, and things like that. It covers the basic pottery techniques. So when we first start off, they use all hand building techniques. They'll go through coil making, slab, and then pinch pot making. So they'll make a project, each one of those, and at the end of the ceramic unit, they will make a combo pot, which is a combination of at least 2 of those techniques. And they have an opportunity, obviously, in this class, to make ceramics and sculpture. Second half of the class is all ceramics, or all sculpture, sorry. This is one of the first ones that we will look at. This is by a junior, Dylan Anderson. This is actually what I call a pinch pot mood face, but it's actually called an ocarina. It's a whistle, right? But I have them, they're tasked at making this whistle have facial features and expression. That's why I call it the pinch pot mood face. And so she has her little drawings there, and she kind of had a sketch of what she wanted to look like. She went through it, did it exactly how she drew it, and it also does whistle. So then they go through the glazing process and all that kind of stuff to get their finished product. Okay, so this one, unfinished product, this one is actually displayed right now. It's a project we did. It was to go with our ancient Southwest unit, kind of exploring other cultures. So in the ancient Southwest, they had a bunch of different vessels they would use for different things, like carrying seeds to go plant or carrying water for their family or whatever. This one was called a human effigy. I don't know exactly what they used it for, and it didn't always look like a human, but this is kind of what they ended up with. This finished product, and this photo I have is not finished. They have this displayed right now at the Burlington County Teen Arts Festival in its finished form, which we'll see a picture of at the end. But it came out very nice at the end. And that was done by Riley Evans, who was here earlier for wrestling. advanced 3D art. So of course we have our basis, sculpture, ceramics. This class is a kind of a deeper dive into those disciplines, all right? The students kind of have a choice which way they want to go. If they want to kind of go more towards the ceramic part of it, or if they want to do a little bit more of the sculpture part, or if they'd like to kind of, dive into both of those. It continues work with clay, plaster, and other media. It covers the additive and subtractive techniques. They will do freestanding sculptures, sometimes relief sculptures, and what have you. And this is one that was done by a advanced student last year, Emily Clothier. She graduated last year, 2024. This was a combination pot, kind of a surrealist idea that she had, coming up with this octopus with a zipper for a head. Okay, so on to the photography class. Intro to photography, intro level class again. Going into this class, it is a intro level class where kids learn how to use a digital SLR camera. All right, so a lot of times people come to class nowadays and it's all about what they've done with Instagram or, anything like that using their cell phone camera. They don't necessarily know how to use a digital SLR camera. So in this class, they will learn how to use the digital SLR camera. They will jump into Adobe Photoshop and learning how to do some photo editing. And then also, in the meantime, they will be kind of creating a digital portfolio in Google Drive. We do study some professional photographers to enhance their composition skills, which will aid them as they move on into some more advanced classes. All right, so this is one of our kind of entry-level Photoshop assignments. They did it's a low-key photo that was really started out with just white light in it. In Photoshop, they were able to start working with layers and adding in a colored light in order to kind of create a mood and kind of simulate them being in a different type of lighting than what they were actually in. And it helped them with learning some of the skills in Photoshop. All right, this also was a entry-level intro to photo class. I gave them some macro lenses, and they're tasked to go out and kind of shoot some close-up textures and insects and stuff like that in order to kind of work on using short depth of fields and getting the use of form and what have you. Okay, so advanced photography kind of builds on what they've done before. It emphasizes individual growth in photography, conducts intensive research on photo creation and careers, covers even more intense digital editing and manipulation, and fine art photography. Expands knowledge of photography techniques through assignments. So we have two advanced students this year, and they have kind of been working together. They collaborate back and forth through this program called Padlet, and they will kind of critique each other's work and stuff like that since they're not in the same class period. And this is one from an artist called, her name is Sophia Willers, and she did some product photography here, which she really likes to do. And then this one is from Eliana Malave. She is also a junior, and she was out, she chose to do some macro photography in nature. So it really shows some nice textures and colors. All right, Sophia Willers, more of a documentary style photography. She was out at the beach taking some documentary photos of kids and their families on the beach. And junior Eliana Malave went to the Eastern State Penitentiary, took some black and white photos there that really turned out nice, showed some real depth, leading lines, real good eye for composition. And then another documentary type photo from Center City in Philadelphia. And then another macro photo from Eliana Malave. Okay, so right now, all the stuff we do all year kind of comes to a culmination of this final thing, and it's the Burlington County Teen Arts Festival. We display work, which we just put up at Burlington County College yesterday, and it will get judged tonight, and we will be there on Thursday to take a field trip. Students will go looking at other schools' artwork as we take our field trip there. Some students will have their artwork chosen to move on to the State Teen Arts Festival. And once that happens, it's usually at Ocean County College, and they will get a chance to move on and maybe get their stuff displayed there. That's the graphic design and the photo setup at Burlington County College. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek and Colleen. Appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys that didn't have to staying for us. We really appreciate that. We always support you guys, and we always love the support for the arts. So thank you for coming for that and staying for that. Any questions I can answer on this side of the room? No, we really appreciate that, and thank you for giving us the opportunity. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to show it. We're super excited for that. Thank you, guys. Have a good rest of your night.
We do have one additional presentation this evening. I'd like to welcome members of the Cinnaminson CPAG, Mrs. Poplowski, Mrs. Neild, and Mrs. Joyce. We are a community of learners, and we certainly appreciate all of the different organizations, groups, parent support groups who have partnered with us to ensure success for all of our students. These three ladies here are part of the Cinnaminson CPAG organization and have made it their charge. Well, actually, I'm going to let them tell you about their charge, but we definitely value the work that they have put into rejuvenating the CPAG into the work that they're doing on behalf of all of our students. So with that, I'm going to go stand in the back, and I'll let you introduce yourselves. Thank you for being here.
Hi, I'm Edie Poplowski. I'm Ashley Neild, and this is Terry. Terry is under the weather, so we're going to do all the speaking tonight. However, the clicker goes to Terry, so we don't mess up. So thank you, Mr. Capello, and the Board of Education. Oh, we're not up yet, are we?
Use the thing.
However you guys want. Sorry.
Are we up?
Too many buttons. I'm sorry. Hang on. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Capello and the members of the board for having us tonight. We are excited to share with you information about our group and what we have been working on and what we have coming up. First and foremost, as you can see, thanks to our marketing manager standing over there, we have a wonderful website that's launched, full of resources. Our site contains upcoming events, resources, and more. It is intended to be a resource for anyone in town with an interest in special education. Doesn't mean you have to have a special education or special needs child. Anyone can go in there and find resources that might be of interest to you. We really do invite everybody to check it out. Next. Special Education Parent Advisory Group, or CPAG, is a state-mandated parent advisory group. The regulation allows parents, in collaboration with school district leaders, to create and run an advisory group that meets local needs. CPAG requirements create opportunities for working together in ways that we can address challenges and make a positive difference. So every town should have a CPAG that is parent-led and with school collaboration. About 16% of people live with a disability. So if you think about it, 16%, every 100 adults, 16 adults have a disability of some type. If you don't yet have a personal connection to a disability, you may wonder why advocating is so important. That's why. I'm not going to read the slide because I hate sitting in meetings and reading a slide, so I'm sure these will be distributed and you can read them on your own. I'm going to hand it over to Ashley.
Oh, I do it, okay. All right. So this cartoon that we have up here on the screen, it's over 20 years old. Not everyone can use the stairs, as you can see, so let's shovel the ramp. This way everyone gets the benefit and everyone gets the accessibility. As you can see, the range of eligible disabilities is wide, and different disabilities require different supports. This is why an individualized education plan, or IEP, is so important for every student. Here's a little bit about what we do, and you can see there's some pictures on the screen, some of our events that we've held in the past. Since November of 2023, we've hosted some open houses, some parent meetings, presented speakers from the New Jersey Coalition of Inclusive Education and the New Jersey Department of Disabilities. We've established connections with SPAN, the statewide parent advocacy network, and other CPAGs throughout the state. We've presented at this year's new teacher orientation, and we meet regularly with Mr. Capello, and we also met with Mrs. Llewellyn recently and with parents from throughout the district. Here's our mission statement. We aim to be a resource and a support for local district parents in Cinnaminson, as well as to maintain a dialogue with the district in regards to issues related to special education. Ultimately, our goal is to improve the outcomes for all students, including those with disabilities. Thank you very much. We invite you to check out our website, follow us on social media. We do have an Instagram now. I don't know how to work that, but Terry has set that up for us, and it's connected to the Facebook page, so please check us out. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Can I ask when your next meeting is?
Good night.
March 31st.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for members of
And
the
that's
board?
at the community center, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
And in closing, I just want to add a copy of this presentation will be distributed to the parents in the district, as are other announcements from the CPAG. Thank you, ladies, for your advocacy and your work on behalf of all of our students and for being here this evening. We're going to move past presentations, Madam President. I don't know if you wanted to take a 1 or 2 minute recess. I don't know if the board's got the stamina to barrel forward. Putting you on the spot.
We good?
We'll move on.
Everybody good? Okay. All right. The next thing we have is Section 8, correspondence to the board. A few emails this month from parents. They were distributed to the appropriate administrator. I don't have anything else. Anybody else?
Yeah, I've had correspondence, same thing, emails and phone calls regarding asking that policy 2431 be sent back to a committee to be amended to include homeschooling students to participate in activities and sports.
Anything else? Okay, moving on to Section 9, committee reports. We had several committee meetings this month. The first one that we'll get the minutes from is the curriculum meeting. Ms. Trompe?
That's me, yep. The Curriculum and Student Activities Committee met virtually on March 6th. Committee members reviewed a proposal from Mrs. Llewellyn for a new course at Cinnaminson High School for ages 18 to 21-year-old program. Committee members were supportive of this new course. The committee also reviewed professional development and field trip requests. A curriculum document for a new high school elective course called American Law was reviewed for committee members, and the administration provided committee members with an update on the 25-26 preliminary budget. That is all.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Trompe.
You're welcome.
Policy Committee, Mr. Kenny.
Thank you. The Policy Committee met to discuss the Strauss SMA policies on March 3rd at 3 o'clock via Google Meeting. During the discussion, the committee reviewed multiple policies which are on the agenda for adoption, including Policy 2365, which includes AI. Ms. Melcher presented to the board about the use of AI in the classroom in the district. Policy 5710 was discussed as well, which has to do with grievances, as well as Regulation 5516, which was tabled to await further possible direction from Trenton. The board revised Policy 8454, pediculosis, as recommended by the district nurses. And finally, the committee considered a new student photography policy, which is on the agenda this evening. And there's no date for a new meeting, next meeting, as of yet.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kenny. And there were actually 2 Finance Committee meetings. Mr. Bromhall will tell us about those.
Thank you. The Finance and Personnel Committee met via Google Meet on Monday, March 3rd at 4 p.m. and also on Thursday, March 13th at 3 p.m. The purpose of the meetings was to review the 2025-2026 proposed budget submission. Mr. Capello discussed current staffing needs and annual contract renewals. Additionally, Mr. Capello shared some limited staffing needs for the upcoming school year. The establishment of several new positions were discussed with the committee, including a new assistant nurse, student bus aide, director of early childhood, and substitute athletic trainer. The committee approved the creation of these new positions. The job descriptions will be advanced to the board for approval. Ms. Wilkie reviewed the following budget items with the committee: the district's 3-year state aid history, allowable adjustments, a budget overview, tax impact scenarios, the 2025-26 revenue projection, and the district's tax levy history. Mr. Capello reviewed the proposed tax increase and explained this increase would make up for the state aid reduction. The preliminary budget proposal maintains the current district budget with no program or staff reductions. Ms. Wilkie reviewed the recommended tax rate impact, which results in a $14.98 per month increase to the average assessed home in Cinnaminson. The members in attendance on the Finance Committee agreed to raise the tax levy by 3.7% in the 2025-2026 budget in order to maintain current staff and programs, which is in the best interest of the students. Approval for submission of the 2025-2026 preliminary budget is on the agenda for approval at tonight's Board of Education meeting. The full budget presentation and request for final approval will be at the April 24th public hearing at 5 p.m. The next meeting of the Finance Personnel Committee has not been scheduled at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bromhall. Letter B under committee reports is the board approving the creation of an ad hoc referendum committee. The members of the board who are on that committee are myself, Ed Kenny, Donna Marie Iacone, and Mike Bromhall. So with that, Ms. Trompe, can I have a motion to approve Section 9 committee reports, item A and B?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Meeker. Comments or questions from the board?
I have a question regarding 9B, the ad hoc committee.
Yes.
Can you just tell us what that's going to be discussing, what that committee is for, and who chose the people to be on that committee? Just a little information, background information about it, please.
Yeah, the referendum committee is an ad hoc committee that was actually initially formed last April. I can get you the exact date on that. We had one meeting last spring, and then it was kind of just put on the back burner. And so I reached out to those same people to see if they would still be interested in that, in being a member of that ad hoc referendum committee, and all of them committed to doing so. So the referendum committee is going to look into different options for expansion, building, improvements, et cetera, and what that would look like and what that would cost.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, any other comments or questions? All right, hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Falconero?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 10, the public comment on agenda items. Members of the public are reminded that comments should be limited to items appearing on the meeting's agenda. There will be another opportunity during this meeting to comment on non-agenda items. All members of the public wishing to speak on agenda items only should raise their hand to indicate their wish to speak. When called upon, participants should state their first and last name and address clearly for the record. In accordance with Cinnaminson Board of Education Bylaw 0164.6, comments will be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person, and the comment period will be limited to 30 minutes in duration. Is there anyone who wishes to comment on any of the agenda items?
I have two. One, the photography policy. I try to comb through some of the policies, and I haven't seen anything that addresses the copyright. So when we have like team pictures done for sports teams or whatever curriculum teams, are those pictures copyrighted so people can just happen to use them anywhere? Or do we just distribute them? That's a little concern, because I've seen some circulating as posters for certain social media pages. These are our kids. So if we have to allow a checkbox to let you use the photo in a paper, then maybe looking into a copyright version of those pictures for the same reason, so people can't just put them on their social media as they're like, hey, this is my page, but yeah, here's a picture of the sports team from the local school. And then you have people from practically all over the world, members of that social media page. Just a small concern. As a parent, if I have to check the box to let my daughter's picture be used, I would love for them to be copyrighted so that pictures are taken for the school, for school use, aren't used in social media and aren't used anywhere else. That's one. Just a suggestion. I haven't found it. If it exists, please let me know where it is. Two is more of a question for Ms. Trampay. In reference to the homeschooling policy, you opposed that here, but yet your school district allows it in where you work. Why did you oppose it here and allow it where you work?
Are you done with your public comment before I speak?
Yeah, I'm done.
Are you finished with your time?
No, that's pretty much it.
Great. So I'm not going to get in a dialogue, but I'd be more than happy to speak to that. My school district, which is grades pre-K through 6, has no sports. We have no extracurricular activities. We have nothing in which homeschool students can come and be a part of that. In the district in which I work, we have our students that attend Clearview Regional Middle and High School, which is grades 7 through 12. Also, Harrison Township sends their students there. Students at Clearview do not allow homeschooled students to participate in any activities. Of the 28, I believe it is, Gloucester County public school districts, only 4 allow homeschool students to participate in any activities. And one that is repeatedly brought up as allowing homeschool students does not allow homeschool students to participate in athletics. Rather, they only allow them to participate in extracurriculars. In regard to the policy number that you're referencing, in Mantua, where I work, that policy was board approved back in 2020, and it's already under review by the policy committee currently in my district of where I work.
So you don't have any sports, you don't have any activities, but you have a policy in place from 2020 that allows that? That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so part of what happens is for regulations and policies through Strauss Esme, which is, a firm that many school districts use to ensure the fact that we're compliant, there's certain policies that are considered mandated. You traditionally can see that under Strauss Esme when you say like an M. So we receive something called policy alerts. Anyone that belongs to Strauss Esme, and as laws and rules change, these policies are reviewed by their attorneys, revised, and then given to districts as recommendations on how they are advising for them to make adjustments. Many times there are opportunities to make personal edits, and that is done at the committee level traditionally, depending on how your board and your district is constructed or organized. So similar to this district where I work, we have a committee format in which board members can review policies and make determinations. But to answer your question, that is the policy, and that is when you're asking me specifically about where I work and what happens in my district and why that is, we have no sports in our district. But I'm not going to have a dialogue. As a courtesy, I provided the answer to give you some information, and I'll be more than happy to talk offline with you or meet with you afterwards if you'd like to reach out to me or call my office in Mantua where I work, and I can answer any questions for you in regards as a superintendent of the district. But just to briefly answer that, that's a courtesy. Okay, you're welcome.
Any other members of the public who would like to comment on agenda items?
2431, an agenda item?
It is not.
Mentioned in correspondence.
It is not an agenda item.
All right, moving on to personnel, certified, non-certified. Mr. Capello?
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Hopefully, Board Docs is behaving a little bit more swiftly. It looks like we've gotten a little quicker. So thank you. Seeking under Section 11A for the board's approval on the non-certificated and certificated staff that are listed by name in the agenda. Under letter B, transfers, seeking the board to approve items 1 through 3, all names listed in the agenda. Under letter C, there are 5 resignation retirement requests from members of our staff to the Board of Education. Under D, leaves of absence, seeking the board to approve items 1 through 8 as listed by employee number in the agenda. Nothing under E or F this evening. Under letter G, extra duty appointments, seeking the board to approve items 1 through 8. All of those names are listed in the agenda. Under letter H, mentor teachers, there are none. Letter I, student teachers. There is one student teacher listed under I1 in the agenda for consideration for approval by the board. Under letter J, sections 1 and 2, those names are listed in the agenda for approval for this evening. Under letter K, tutors, seeking the board to approve item number 1 listed in the agenda. And finally, under job description, there are 4 job descriptions listed in the agenda that we are seeking the board's approval for this evening. And that is personnel, certificated and non-certificated in section 11. Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Ms. Iacone, can I have a motion to approve section 11, personnel, not certified, non-certified, items A through L?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Blystein. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Falconero?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved.
And very quickly, Mrs. Jones, I believe you have brought a new member of our staff to meet the board this evening, if you wouldn't mind doing a brief introduction.
I'd like to introduce Victoria Dixon, who is a recent graduate from Rowan University. She will be joining our second grade team as a long-term substitute for maternity leave.
Congratulations. Thank you for being here this evening. We're looking forward to having you as a member of our staff. Red and black, go Pirates.
All right, we're moving on to section 12, curriculum and instruction. Dr. Goldburn.
Thank you very much. Under number 12, letter A, requesting approval of the professional development requests. Under letter B, the monthly field trip requests. Under letter D, curriculum, numbers 1 and 2. Letter E, the monthly HIB report. And letter F, the monthly suspension report. Those are the curriculum and instruction items this month, Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Dr. Goldburn. Ms. Kate Blystein, can I have a motion to approve section 12, curriculum and instruction, items A through F?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kenny. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Eileen Blystein?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved.
You can skip 13.
Okay. We have no special education items tonight, so we'll move on to section 14, policy. Mr. Capello?
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. There are a number of policies on the agenda this evening. Under section 1, seeking the board's approval on second reading and then official adoption of the following policies that are listed in the agenda. And then under number 2, there are a few policies there that are listed under first reading for this evening. So we ask the board to take a vote to consider approval of those policies this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mr. Meeker, can I have a motion to approve section 14, item A?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Eileen Blystein?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to section 15, business and finance. Mrs. Wilkie.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. First, I would like to clarify, I believe there might have been a typo in the committee report for finance, and the board, the public hearing on the budget is April 29th, not the 24th. It's the 29th at 5 p.m. Section A, grants, item number 1, that the board approves the submission of the preschool expansion aid workbook for the 25-26 school year as outlined below for a total estimated preschool education aid tuition carryover and special education funding in the amount of $3,157,345. And item number 2, that the Cinnaminson Township Board of Education accepts the preschool facilities grant award in the amount of $150,000. Section B, finance, item number 1, that the board approves 25-26 school district budget preliminary submission to the Burlington County Executive Superintendent for approval. The total base budget, $74,643,097, with a local tax levy of $38,490,694 and a debt service of $1,982,499. Item number 2, that the board approves to include in the preliminary budget an enrollment adjustment in the amount of $202,827. Item number 3, that the board approves to include in the preliminary budget submission an adjustment for increased health care costs in the amount of $424,111. Item number 4, that the board approves to include in the preliminary budget submission the amount of maintenance withdrawal in the amount of $575,000. Item number 5, that the board approves the resolution establishing the maximum budget amount for travel and related expenses for the 25-26 school year. Item number 6, that the board approves the resolution establishing the travel and related expense reimbursement procedures for the 25-26 school year. Item number 7, that the board approves the revised 23-24 tuition rates as outlined below. Item number 8, that the board approves the staff mileage reimbursement requests as outlined below. Item number 9, donations, that the board accepts with appreciation the donation of $933 from Jersey Mike's of Cinnaminson to the Cinnaminson High School, and that the board accepts with appreciation the donation of $975.24 from Jersey Mike's of Cinnaminson to the middle school. Section C, operations, that the board approves the New Jersey Department of Education waiver application for preschool rooms as outlined below. And Section D, contracts, one item, that the board approves the renewal agreement for services between the Cinnaminson Board of Education and Educational Data Services in the amount of $3,615 for the time period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilkie. Ms. Falconero, can I have a motion to approve Section 15, Business and Finance, items A through D?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Kate Blystein. Comments or questions from the board?
I have a question. Sorry. I just have a question. I wanted to know if the board or the administration puts out a overview of the budget, why we want to increase the budget, what happened with the money, the state aid that we get from, the aid that we get from the state, how there was a decrease. Is that going to be available? Are we going to have something for the public prior to the budget hearing, so that the public can have some input, so they can understand why we want to raise that?
Thank you for that question. That is certainly a part of our public hearing on the budget. All of the details will be made available. We typically offer the public presentation that we do at the meeting is published on our website as well with the user-friendly budget. So, to address, if the question was, how the district intends to address the shortcoming from the state, that will definitely be a part of the presentation, along with how the district, the finance committee, arrived at the numbers that are being proposed to the district.
And that's prior to that actual hearing where we vote?
So that information is shared with the public at the public-facing meeting.
Okay, and just another question. If you guys were asked to come out and present to any town organization that wanted more information about that, would you be willing to do a presentation regarding the budget?
Of course I would, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Let's take a vote. Ms. Eileen Blystein?
I'm sorry, aye.
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 Aye. Aye. Motion approved. We have no other business tonight?
I have no other business.
All right.
Other business? Mm-hmm. Okay. I would again like to make a motion to add policy 2431 to the policy committee for review and possible amendment.
Second.
Okay, so we will vote on whether or not to send it back to committee.
So to clarify, that would be a yes vote to refer the policy back to the policy committee, no to not refer it to the policy committee.
We'll start with Ms. Falconero.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Nope.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. Motion does not pass. It does not go back to committee. All right, moving from there, we're going to public comment on other items. So members of the public are reminded that any comments, any topic can be brought up at this portion of the meeting. All members of the public wishing to speak on the items should raise your hand to indicate your wish to speak when called upon. Participants should state their first and last name and address clearly for the record. In accordance with Cinnaminson Board of Education Bylaw 0164.6, Comments will be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person. The comment period will be limited to 30 minutes in duration. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, the board will not publicly discuss or comment on matters involving personnel, litigation, negotiations, or attorney-client privilege. The board may choose not to respond to comments made by members of the public during this portion of the meeting. However, all comments will be given appropriate consideration. Matters requiring follow-up will be referred to the superintendent for resolution. Is there anyone, members of the public, wishing to speak? Sure.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julie Gandy. I live at 717 Willow Drive, and I'm on the board of the Cinnaminson High School Music Boosters. My daughter is a junior in the high school marching band. She is part of the indoor drum line and was one of the percussionists in the recent amazing musical, The Little Mermaid. Music is such an important part of brain development and helps with math skills, with social skills, with team building, and many other aspects of creating a well-rounded human. To limit our kids' learning music is to limit their future. A few months ago, the Cinnaminson High School Marching Band was honored by the previous board for their amazing season in winning states and second in the 9-state ACC regionals in Hershey Stadium. And earlier tonight, we saw a lot of children being honored for their hard work in the music department. Our kids were able to do all of this to be so successful in their school music career because they had a safe and supportive environment in their lower grades. And now that has changed. There is a concern about the strain being put on the elementary and middle school music programs. Administration took away a middle school music department position a few years ago, and despite yearly inquiries and advocacy for that position, it is still unfilled. This means a much more intensive course load for our middle school teachers and an inability to grow their own instrumental and choral programs. Also, our elementary general music teachers have been without classrooms, not even having a space in their schools to foster a musical culture. Music brings us together. Watching our kids grow through the years, being a part of the pit orchestra during the amazing musicals is such a joy as a parent. Music builds bridges, and we need as many bridges in today's world as we can. I speak for the entire Cinnaminson High School Music Booster Association. Our kids have found their home in the music program here in Cinnaminson. Don't take that away from our younger students. Thank you. You want to say anything?
Hello, I'm Renee Chalmers. I'm here also just to support everything that Julie said. I'm a parent of 4 Cinnaminson students. 2 of them graduated from high school. 2 are still in high school. And I really honestly don't know what I would do without my kids participating in music classes, starting in New Albany School. And just a big shout out to Ms. Sigmund, Dr. DeSalvio, and Mr. Buchanan, who really changed my kids' lives for the better. As a widow of left with kids, 4 kids under the age of 6, it's tremendous what they added to my life and my children's life. So I'm just here to just add that and support everything that Julie already previously said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doug LaSalle, 104 Cuthbert Road, Cinnaminson. I was informed that policy 2431 came up at the February meeting. I was pleasantly surprised to see it come up again after I watched the YouTube video last month. A few of my thoughts. Mrs. Bleistein, you showed true courage last month and this month when you asked for the policy committee to revisit policy 2431. Oftentimes I hear from some in our community, if you have the ability to make a difference, you have the obligation to try. You embody this credo, and I thank you. After the February 2025 meeting, I decided to do some more research. I found that large regional districts like Lenape and Eastern Regional allow homeschoolers to participate in sports. I also found that small districts like Clayton and Maple Shade allow homeschoolers to participate in sports. Some of our neighbors, Rancocas Valley Regional and Delran, allow homeschoolers to participate in sports, and they've been doing it for over 20 years. And affluent communities, most notably Haddonfield, allow homeschoolers to participate in sports, again, over 20 years. But I didn't stop there. I spoke with multiple athletic directors from these districts. The notes from those phone calls are in an email that I sent to all of you in late February. Most notable was the phone call I had with Mr. Godoti from Delran. Multiple times on our phone call, he stated, "I don't understand why Cinnaminson would be against this." But there are two other districts that I found intriguing. Mantua School District, a K-6 district where Ms. Trempe is the superintendent, and her previous employer, West Deptford, that has allowed homeschoolers to participate for over 20 years. I also spoke with their athletic director, who spoke very positively about allowing homeschoolers to participate in sports. Lastly, I watched a former board member, the former chair of the policy committee, come up to this podium and speak about how safety was a reason for not amending policy 2431. I want everyone to know I was provided with 10 pages of notes from this former chairperson, and not once was the word safety ever mentioned in his notes. Please, please, please revisit policy 2431. If it's good enough for communities like Haddonfield, West Deptford, Eastern Regional, Delran, RV, Barnegat Township, Ocean City, Clayton, then I think it's good enough for Cinnaminson. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sell. Any other members of the public who would like to address the board on non-agenda items at this time?
Point of order.
So did you want to, Mrs. Wilkie, do we have any additional time on the 4 minutes?
53 seconds.
The mic is yours.
Last month, I saw Tom Barton up here. He's an attorney from a very affluent Philadelphia law firm. Apparently, there was an issue with his wife, who's an employee in the district. You should probably take that guy seriously, and you should probably get a better understanding of 0136, because you told him he had to leave the days. There was still probably 25 minutes of public comment left, so he had every right to come back up here and speak. And rather than letting him finish, you didn't educate him on the policy. I encourage all of you to read it. Thank you. We under the 53?
Thank you again, Mr.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
Anyone else?
Seeing none?
All right, we move to,
Dan Evans, 2172 Hemlock Lane. In reference to what you just brought up, Mr. Sell, Mrs. Fitzwater always says at the beginning of the time up here that everyone has 4 minutes, and it's only open until 30 minutes total. So everyone is always presented with that information at the beginning of the open policy segment, or open speaking segment. So thank you again for your time and for your information. I used to be the policy chair here for 2431, and one of the reasons that I didn't bring up safety is because that should just be like common sense at this point, especially in today's day and age. In our school environment, it's hard enough to keep track of the kids that are already in school. It's hard enough to facilitate what we have, especially when teachers and administrators are constantly being limited in what they can do. So that has to be factored in in any sort of policy change. So I appreciate you bringing that up. But, you know, again, I asked you personally at one point, why do you want to leave the district? And you never really gave me an answer.
That's not true.
I know it is. And it's funny that you say that. It's funny that you say that because your opinion has been all over the board. But, you know, everybody has heard your opinion, obviously. But the fact of the matter is this. Well, I'm just reacting to your statement since you brought me up.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Swell.
you. But anyway, back to my point. The point being is that a lot of research was put into that decision at that time, and I know the research is still available, so I recommend the board, if they need to ask Mr. Capello for the information, he should have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
We're going to move on to board comments. Mr. Kenny?
Thank you. The board would like to pass along our condolences to the family of Mrs. Deirdre Kane, who passed away on March 11th after long illness. Mrs. Kane was a beloved member of the Cinnaminson Middle School family and is sorely missed. Congratulations to the winner of today's Future Chefs competition, Jonathan DeFlavis, and to all of our competitors. Your dishes were delicious, and congratulations to all of our student recipients of this evening's awards. Thank you to Gwen, Evan, and Graham for their excellent informative reports. Great job again, as usual. Thank you to our art teachers for their interesting presentation, some very impressive work. And thank you to CPAG for their presentation and collaboration. Thank you to Jersey Mike's Cinnaminson for their generous donations. I believe that's it. The next regularly scheduled meeting is on April 15th at 7 p.m. right here in the middle school cafetorium. More information can be found on the district website. And also looking ahead, as mentioned earlier, the public hearing on the budget is scheduled for April 29th at 5 p.m.
I'd also like to make some comments. I got used to it, sorry. So I had the privilege to attend the NJSBA new member orientation. It was a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, packed Friday night from about 6:30 till 10 o'clock at night, 7 a.m. Saturday till about 8:30 at night, and then Sunday, 7 a.m. to 12. So it was packed. We learned a lot. I learned a lot, and I don't know how to bring this up otherwise because we're not allowed to talk to each other as a whole unless the public is here. So that's why I'm going to bring it up now. So it's just some input. I'd like to put it out there so you guys can, maybe we could talk about it. So I attend more board meetings. I've watched other board meetings. I think there's some things that we could do that I just noticed in other board meetings. So number one, a simple structure thing is most board members have their tables are set up in a U so we can all see each other because sometimes it's very difficult to hear who's talking. It promotes more of we can have a conversation if we have questions. I've watched other board meetings. It's like everyone feels very comfortable. Here, to me, it feels like that, it's very formal and we can't ask questions. So I kind of think we should go back and forth. The public can see us asking questions, and more things are talked about in the open, which I think is good for transparency. Something else they do is they have on their screen, they have the agenda so that everyone sitting out here could actually look at the agenda and see where we're going through. I think it's just helpful for us to do something like that. And they have a committee as a whole. A lot of places have that. We have certain committees where some members of the board are not aware of what you're talking about, and our input is really not. And I guess I understand we're supposed to trust everyone on a committee, but sometimes it's nice to know that you can hear every board member's opinion about a topic, especially if it keeps getting brought up. So a committee of the whole, which I think a lot of you already know, is like they have a work session. The public's allowed to be there. I think it would be great if we could move to that. We wouldn't have so many committee meetings on the side. We'd have a big meeting. We could discuss things in the public can hear. We could get their input, which we were elected to represent our town. So that's just the comments I wanted to make. And I thank you guys all for listening to me and putting up with me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blaustein. That is it. So Ms. Eileen Bleistine, can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Trompe. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Good night, folks.